Well, that cold spell we were enjoying has gone away and it's back to being hot here in the waning days of October in the Florida Panhandle. And I want to share with you something I'm finally getting into, and that is electric fencing. As I get closer, just few years from retirement, I'm thinking more and more about when we retire and start homesteading for serious. And I realize that whether it's chickens or goats or whatever animals we end up getting, that electric fencing is going to come into play if I'm able to, God willing, have enough land to do some pasture grazing and move the animals around. And so I thought I'd go ahead and get into it. And part of the reason is because I've got such a problem with predators here. If you're one of my five faithful, you may remember that I lost one of my chicks or chickens and the rooster to something, probably fox or possum, most likely fox, recently. And so I'm just looking for more levels of defense. So I've invested in this brand here, Stark Line electric fencing. And actually, let me tell you how I got to this place. I picked Stark Line after some research. Um, it really came down between Stark Line and Tractor Supply, and or there. No, I'm sorry. It came down to Stark Line and American Farmer, which is the Tractor Supply brand. And I did my research, and it seems like American Farmer has a lot of problems with their solar chargers and stuff. So, and I knew I wanted it to be solar charged. And so I went with Stark Line. I still ordered it through Tractor Supply because they carry it online. They just don't, at least at my Tractor Supplies, they don't carry it in store. So here's where I screwed up. I got this set first as part of what they call an all-in-one kit. And it included the fencing, the solar charger, the battery, everything that you needed. Problem was, I didn't know much about this stuff, so I ordered this all-in-one kit, which the fencing is not made for chickens. It's twice as wide a hole as poultry fencing, and it's for like goats and stuff. And so my chickens walked right through it. And I'm really not getting this for the chickens. I'm getting it for the predators. However, the chickens do need to stay inside on the days that I let them out of their containment so that they don't just go everywhere. So the first kit I bought, the fencing was not proper for what I needed. So it's sitting right here. No big deal. I will use it eventually because, like I said, we're looking toward doing other things. Especially when we retire. So I had to turn around and buy another set of netting. And this one I actually got off Amazon, same brand. And it is specifically poultry fencing, and the holes are much smaller. And so far, I am very happy. Now, there's a learning curve, especially if you're stupid like me. And I'm learning how to put it up so that I get the the most shock for my money. Because, and probably everybody out there knows more about it than I do. That wouldn't be hard to do. But every, limb that hits it or high grass or anything that it touches degrades the carry of the electrical impulse. So this one I've got here today is set up pretty good. Now, one thing I did almost immediately was buy some additional um, um, uh, posts, and I'm getting these at Tractor Supply for like $2.50 a piece, $2.29. They seem to change in price, and they're just very simple posts. The ones that come with it are, ooh, I just got shocked, are more elastic, but they're okay. It's just, to me, there's not enough of them, and so every now and then when I go to Tractor Supply, I buy a couple more posts. Like I said, they're cheap. They're less than $3 a piece. But I was fairly happy with this fencing. until yesterday when I became very happy with it. I was out here and I'd set it up and I touched it to check it, and I got a little bit of a shock. And then I thought, I wonder if my Crocs or my tennis shoes are having an effect. So I took them off and I touched it, and damn, I got a shock. So this thing is actually putting out pretty good. Now, like I said, a little bit of a learning curve for me, but for the money, and I spent less than $400 for the initial kit. I think 320 something, and then I spent another $200 to get this bigger netting, which is much longer also. But the solar charger seems to work real well. The first thing you do, it comes with a 12-volt battery, which I noticed that the American Farmer, the Tractor Supply brand, came with only a 6-volt battery. So there's a 12-volt battery in there. You can buy more of those for like 18 bucks on Amazon. But I charged it up overnight to begin with on the electric. And then I've set it in here and just, I don't turn it or anything. I just kind of set it toward the south. And it's been doing great, and that's been like 2 weeks. But I'm really liking that. Number one, there's another level of protection for my chickens at night, so that when they're in there in bed, if a predator wants to even go mess with them, he has to get past this fence first. And I also like that during the day, I can give them a little more, I don't know, what do you call it, more on their plate. So I'm able to let them come in here and get into the vineyard and go in there, and I'm sure there's lots of nice worms and stuff like that. So they're enjoying that. As I move them around, if I feel like it, I can expand their yard. When I move them in the next couple of days, I'm going to let them get into that garden patch at my wife's, and they're going to enjoy getting in there. So pretty happy with it. The you know, the upkeep, or rather the work involved in moving them, yeah, it's work. But what's not work, guys? So when I move them, I normally will make a long rectangle out of the fencing so that I'm able to move them like 3 times before I have to actually change the fencing. As you can see, I've done something special here where I'm letting them get over and get into the vineyard. But normally when I'm just, you know, going across the yard, I can let the fence stay for 3 days before I actually move them. And I'm moving them every day now, just to give them more grass and more enjoyment. And they're doing great. They're very happy. They're all putting out. I'm getting 5 eggs a day, although somebody doesn't seem to understand where to put the eggs. And you know, sometimes depending on the terrain and how it's set up, you might need to use one of these lines and reinforce. But for the most part, especially with these extra poles that you get from Tractor Supply, they're doing just great. And I'm pretty darn happy with it. Not an expert. This is not a how-to, because there's plenty of videos online that can do that for you. I'm just sharing with you, I guess, the next evolution for me of where we're headed. And I can see eventually having enough of this stuff and hopefully going to have a large enough place that I can move not just chickens, but if I get into goats, which I'm not sure why the hell I want to get into goats, but I just do, that I can you know, use this stuff to move them around and take advantage of the pasturing, and I don't know, I'm just kind of interested in it and wanted to share it with you. Hey, thanks for watching.